Honorable Speaker, I say, and I note the statements given by the elders or the leader, and rain has started, and we are expecting a problem any time. As the office of disaster preparedness is handling small issues, I'm calling those small issues because every leader from Sebei sub-region and Gisu have been saying we need to settle that small group. And if it is a small group, which means the government can handle, solve that problem as you settle these people, because rain is coming. We should not be always on international media for problems affecting Uganda. And I really want to thank you, the leaders, for the talk.
I led a delegation there twice. The first time we invited the Office of the Prime Minister to show us the land that they had bought. They were not able to take us there. They did not join the committee to reach that place. So we remained in Bulamute sub-county and came back to Kampala. The second time we requested them to take us, they did not show up. So the committee was quite suspicious of the dealings that were on ground. Madam Speaker, finally, when we managed to make our way with the leadership of Blambuli district to the land that is being talked about, we were actually denied to reach plot 10. But it was out of serious explanation and negotiations with the people who were there that some of the people who claim to be the owners of the land actually told the committee that they want Honorable Museveni and the PS and the Commissioner of Disaster, that is Mr. Warren Martin. And one old man testified to the committee and said he wanted to die and die with Museveni on his neck because he tried to strangle him, but he was protected and they took him away. So, Madam Speaker, the big challenge we have.
Okay. Half a minute, then Honorable Kibaki.
Madam Speaker, thank you very much. The issue is the committee has appropriated money, but the money that the committee has given to this ministry, we do not see anything tangible. It is today that I've seen a few things, the materials being ferried to that place. By the time we went there, you could hardly see anything. We only saw a skeleton office of the police who were trying to disperse of the people who had actually gathered there to wait for Honorable Mudimi, whom they had accused was coming to do aerial survey on their land, and they wanted to get him and do away with his life. Madam Speaker, there's a lot that is in the report, but also I'm aware that, like the saying goes, from soil we come and to the soil we go. The issue of land is quite complex, and I think we need an independent body with a good knowledge of land procedures to do the investigation. Otherwise, for Parliament, when we go there, we're not given all the information that we need. We do not even have enough time to stay there to carry out and reach the areas that we're supposed to. Thank you very much, Madam Speaker.
Ona Morris, then Onzima, Osiagi, Okot.
Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker.
Procedure, Madam Speaker. Procedure. Yes, procedure.
Yes.
Procedure.
Which rule?
Procedure.
Which rule? Which rule? Honorable Kibaria, please.
Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker. Right Honorable Speaker, it's great that the Right Honorable Prime Minister is in the House. Right Honorable Speaker, the issue we are discussing concerns the office of the leader of government business. I know the Right Honorable Prime Minister very well. Right Honorable Speaker, we can discuss this today, tomorrow, and next year. Because this is not the first time issues in the office of the Prime Minister have been discussed. Right Honorable Speaker, people in Bududa are suffering. They need to be helped. And we need to address
that issue, how best we are going to help them, and how their livelihood can be improved now. We share with the minister that they are on course and they have done some work and they are doing work. Great. Ndogurugunda, your name is clean. People are hiding in the office of the Prime Minister to do evil, to do things that are not worth the office of the Prime Minister. Why don't we use this time, this chance, so that whoever is responsible, instead of putting people in a blanket, using a blanket statement, putting people in a basket that this one is responsible because it is in the office of the Prime Minister, this one is responsible. Why don't we use this glaring example to hold the people responsible? Whoever was responsible for this mess, have him brought to book. Leave the innocent be innocent, but have whoever was responsible.
Honorable Onzima, Isiagi, Okot, Kainza. Let's do those four in that order first.
Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker. Right Honorable Speaker, I want to thank the committee for the report.
Speaker, procedure. Madam Speaker, we are handling a report, a committee report. And this committee report raises a number of observations and recommendations. Madam Speaker, shouldn't we proceed well? Shouldn't we be proceeding well if we looked at the committee report with the observations, maybe go one by one? Because when the minister was presenting, he said no money was lost. The report indicates even with amounts of money in billions. So we want this to be clarified together with what we discussed. And are we proceeding well?
I cannot anticipate what members are going to say. I've said so many times, please address the recommendations. But members are not. What can I do? I don't even know what they want to say. Honorable Zima, Isiagi.
Yes. Thank you,
Address the recommendations, please.
Madam Speaker, I am looking at the committee recommendations. One recommendation the committee raised is to do with the land. The committee was asking, why should we have government land which can only be given to refugees, but not to Ugandans who have problems? So in this particular situation, I want to support this. If we have government land which is there, why don't we use it to settle our own people? Why do we keep government land only for refugees? Can't we use this? That's one. Then two, Madam Speaker, most times when problems happen like this, when we are settling people, it's about getting land, settling them without sensitization. In this implementation of these projects, do we have psychologists, sociologists to prepare people's mind as we settle them? It's not about picking them and taking them. They must be psychologically prepared. This is one of the recommendations which I support. Number three, Madam Speaker, one of the reasons as to why people moved away from Chiradongo back to Bududa was that, according to the committee report, 603 house units were supposed to be built, but only 289 were built. And this was partly why people decided to go back. Can we get assurance this time this cannot be repeated in Bulambuli? Finally, Madam Speaker, can we have as government a comprehensive assessment of problems as observed by the committee? That is a problem-prone area. As government, can't we have a comprehensive assessment and also have land in advance to wait for such a situation other than firefighting, as is the situation now? Because the other time it happened, people are taken to Chira.
Then Okot.
Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker. Madam Speaker and colleagues, I would also thank the committee for trying to some extent to make a report. However, I would like to disagree with a recommendation where the committee is saying, Honorable Mudimi, the PS committed financial laws. Colleagues, when you talk about financial laws, I expected the committee to dig deep and really show us how is it a financial laws, not just writing a literature, blanket statement.
Order.
Order, Honorable Anyoraj.
Right Honorable Speaker, if you read the committee's report, the committee report is basing on 1, legal ownership, 2, what you call quiet possession of the land. And therefore, Right Honorable Speaker, there's a question. Now, is it, Right Honorable Speaker, there are even questions here where they're raising how Uganda Land Commission actually gave land that on it were customary owners and gave the powers of that, to manage that land to a company called, is it Simo? Masaba. Now, is the Honorable in order to actually assume that financial loss is necessarily direct transaction that you give money to someone, when actually in the whole dealing, no due diligence? That is what the committee is talking about. Is it therefore in order to actually, and the matter is in court, is in order to impute wrong motive on the, actually incompetence on the committee, that they did not do good work, when actually the committee has pointed all these issues in this report, is in order without giving it?
Now, Honourable members, the report was made and members understand things.
Did they use for the evaluation? When you talk about the swamp, did they hire a helicopter to fly over to a certain, and you value? If you tell us the financial loss is this amount because the purchase price is lower than the selling price, and that's when you have sold the asset is there. So I'm not just assuming, I'm an expert in this. So you don't just blanket it that there is a financial loss. Information, yes, my land.
Yeah, thank you very much. The information I want to give you, I think valuation of property or anything is not done by eyes. There are people who go to school and study to value land. Even a swamp has value. You have seen here where we're going race in Kibimba is a swamp. And so when a man gets up to say there's no value, you know that some people are studying law who come here to want practicing the law here and they say of parliament here, without knowing that valuation has a mechanism. And I want to say that, tell him that there should have been an audit to get value, then you could compare with the loss you are talking about.
So we go to Honorable Court.
Honorable Speaker, just let me complete. There was a statement stating Honorable Mudimi to have been a speculator, but the activity of a speculator is not an illegal activity. Therefore, you can't recommend prosecution because of my speculation. It's reading things ahead. I acquire property, and when there is a better deal, I'm free to sell at my price. So you don't recommend prosecution for speculation. It's not an illegal act. Thank you.
Thank
you, Madam.
Angura, Mutebi, Masiku, and we close with Infamizo.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, I want to add my voice to thank the committee for a very good job. Well done. Madam Speaker, I want to urge OPM to pick the positives out of this report and also take lessons from this report. Madam Speaker, if OPM had followed some of the lessons and learned, we would not have lost people in Bududa. Right from 2010, there was a botched resettlement in Bunyoro. Now, because of the mistakes that were made, people had to run back to Bududa and we lost them. Madam Speaker, the first person to get problems, to sense danger out of this operation was the president. And because of that, the president himself set up a committee of inquiry. He set the terms of reference. OPM under the third deputy prime minister,
Right Honorable Kivejinja, constituted a committee. Yes. The committee came up with a very good report. Unfortunately, OPM ignored that report, and that's why we ended up with the second disaster in Bududa. Right Honorable Speaker, I would urge, in the interest of, because of time, that can OPM this time around learn the lessons from the botched procurements they have carried out in Bududa and in Kiriandongo. Your own report, Right Honorable Speaker, of OPM, authored by Odwe.
Kaisa, Kumama, Angura.
Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker. I thank the committee for the report. And among the issues, plot 10-198 is waterlogged. I visited the plot myself. Plot 93 and 94, as you've heard, colleagues, they are claimants. And also, when it rains heavily, actually the Woman MP of Lambuli was requesting for an excavator. So Office of the Prime Minister, as you plan to settle the people of Bududa, make sure you have an excavator to be on standby in that area. Right Honorable Speaker, we should also look at the bigger number. We should explore the alternatives because there are so many people who are at high risk. We cannot wait on one method of relocating them to Bunambute. Yet there are other alternatives like the urbanization or giving people money to acquire land elsewhere because that one is cheaper, it's faster. We shall do away with the procurement. People settle in areas they desire. And this is in line with National Objective 23 of the Constitution. Right Honorable Speaker, the committee on page 3, they pointed to the cabinet minute number 383, where cabinet passed a resolution of allocating 80 billion per financial year for 3 consecutive financial years. So for 2 consecutive financial years, this money was diverted. Honorable members, it's even pointed out on page 3 that this was under the guidance of one member of a budget committee on page 23. Members, as we appropriate, let's work with the correct committees. Let's do our due diligence before we are taken basing on one person. And it's also on this note that I appeal to members that the contingence fund, which we've established under Article 157 and guided by Section 26 of the Public Finance Management Act, we should follow the procedures of this fund. We wouldn't go through all this. Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker. Yes, the contingence fund is very important. And I appeal to members of the committee that on page 24, we reinstate the 80 billion to be provided to OPM as a supplementary request to help our people be resettled. Finally, for Kiriandongo, Honorable Minister, we have a deficit of 314 houses, no secondary school, because our children are being denied of education, as in Article 30. So we should make sure that the issues in Kiriandongo, those pay no land titles, let those people be given land titles, because this is a serious issue. Our people need to be assured that the land on which they are settled belongs to them and there will be no more disturbances. Thank you so much. I thank so much all the stakeholders. I thank the President for even fulfilling his pledge when he came to Bududa. I thank the different partners, Catholic Relief Services, World Vision, and members of Parliament who visit the area and who have offered us support.
Kumama, Denangura, Mutevi, Masika, Mpamizo.
Yeah, thank you so much, Madam Speaker. I first of all thank the committee for the report, the Minister for the information that he has given us, and also Mr. Honorable Mudimi, for clearing the air. I know in a situation like this, normally, when a disaster happens, heads start rolling. What next? Resettlement normally is looked at as a first option to consider these victims, to help them. But I want to know from the Minister whether the ministry had actually looked at the option of actually giving these victims some money to look for their own areas of their choice. I really want to know. And whether he has compared resettling them by buying them land and also building, possibly, and providing infrastructure to a completely new place. whether it is actually cheaper than paying off these people. A minute, just. I would request that, I would really, because some of these people, this is not the first time they are being resettled. There are some people who are actually brought to, who are taken to Kiriandongo, some were brought to Kayunga. In Kayunga, we gave them some 200 acres of land in Kisalizi. And indeed, some of these people, when they were settled there, eventually went back to Bududa. Very few are still there. They have actually gone back. How are you going to really interest these people in these areas you are taking them and make sure they actually stick to that and they will never go back for the landslide?
Thank you very much, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, I also want to thank the committee and various other groups that visited Bududa. Madam Speaker, I also visited Bududa, and I want to say that the situation in Bududa, with the rivers that are flowing amidst the communities there, continues to scare a lot. How I wish, Madam Speaker, the program that has been started by the Office of the Prime Minister now and is expected to last for 10 years continues flowing in the 10 years without any adjustment. Madam Speaker, when you talk to the people of Bududa and mainly Bugisu, I really would like, if it were possible, the Office of the Prime Minister to consider other options available. Resettling the people where land has been bought is a good, but there are also many people who are requesting, where necessary, they be given an option to secure land in the areas of their own convenience. And Madam Speaker, when they give their reasons, remember Bududa is very fertile. The lands in Bududa are so fertile. So that hesitation that the land in Bulambuli is good, but may not be as good as the land that they would have secured in other places of Bugisu. And I want to inform you, Madam Speaker, when you are in Bududa and look at the sizes of the land that are owned by the people of Bududa, it is not big land. These people are surviving because the land is fertile. So if given an opportunity, as among other options, to settle wherever they may wish to go, I think that will also be a quicker and even a much more cheaper option, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, when we talk about the areas affected, this should not be isolated.
Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker, for the opportunity you've given me to contribute on this debate. I want to thank the committee for the report, other unfortunate considerations notwithstanding. Right Honorable Speaker, when this committee went out, the most paramount thing was to find a lasting solution to the resettlement of the people suffering. It was the key. And one of the issues that they wanted to confirm was whether the Prime Minister's office had bought land and in compliance with the procurement procedures, both of which were confirmed in the affirmative. Now, there are two critical issues to deal with right now. The quiet position, and that is what we should ask government to ensure that it is done. You know, in any land possessions, there are always conflicts, even if you went to buy a 50 to 50 plot. But those issues can always be dealt with, and that is where we want government to assure us that they will deal with that in connection with the warranties in the agreements that were executed. Another thing that we need to deal with you may give the information.
Thank you, Right Honourable Speaker. The information I want to give my senior chair of science, which Honourable Bala calls GMO, is that government went ahead properly. Chair, if, through the Speaker, if we members bring a proposal of giving people money, people will eat the money especially the men, will eat the money, leave the women, and later go back, and there will be a problem. That's the information I wanted to give.
I'm still on the floor. I'm still on the floor. Right Honorable Speaker, the ongoing financial year, we withdrew 8 billion shillings, which was supposed to be given for purposes of executing this program. Parliament should consider restoring this money so that this program continues to avoid the ongoing suffering. However, we may consider other options of other areas, but for the program which is ongoing, I would implore Parliament to support the government to go on with the completion of this program. I thank you.
Honorable Masika,
Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker. I thank the committee for the good work which they have done, but always, according to the report which we got from the people, I'm from Namisindwa. Namisindwa is just a neighbor of Bududa. Our people are there. Always, when there is a war, if you are commanding a platoon or a battalion, there must be plan A and a plan B. So when we meet our people, some of them, they say that if there is money, they can get money and they buy land wherever they want. We come from the people, we have to bring out their views. So I don't accept or I don't concur with the Honorable Engineer Waruswaka's concept that when they give money, people will eat the money. What about those people where the roads pass, the UNORA? They got money from my area, where the road is coming from Mbale to Luakaka, and they have settled and built more wonderful, beautiful houses than before. So, apart from that, many good things have been, they have talked about good things, all the members of parliament, but I make a request that because the people in Bududa, many of them perished in the first instance during that disaster. Second time, we lost our people. So I would like to request the Speaker and this August House that government should allocate a national mourning day for those ones who lost their lives, so that when a group of people goes to Bulambuli or Bunamputie or Kiriandongo, our Bazukulu will ask, why are we here? Our names appearing here, others in Bududa. Why are we here? We have to have a history to tell them that such and such a thing happened, that's why we are here.
Right Honorable Speaker, I want 3 clarifications. One is the committee was there, it had all the time, and they interfaced with you. Honorable Minister, why didn't you provide all this information to our committee since it had time and was working on our behalf? That is one. We are seeing a wetland on all media houses, and I think they are watching us even now as we debate. And even in your video, we show some wetland being jumped. Is it true that now people can process land titles in wetlands and settle on them? Because when I'm cancelling a land title, I request that one of the reasons I would give would say that this is a wetland. Madam Speaker, I am also inquiring, why did OPM opt for willing buyer, willing seller? Yet they have the option of compulsory acquisition of land. Yes, because it is catered for. I will get the answers. Ladies and gentlemen, Honorable Speaker and colleagues, land was bought much earlier. Why did the resettlement of these people wait for another calamity? And yet calamity and disaster don't warn. And for this big transaction, how much tax was paid in regard to these transactions? 1 minute.
half a minute.
Thank you so much. How much tax was paid for this transaction so that we know it was a genuine transaction or it was an undercover transaction? Ladies and Honorable Speaker and colleagues, mine is another thing is about the impunity in OPM. It is clear that in this same house, we pass rulings in regard to OPM, and they again don't implement with a lot of impunity. It is on record that on 19 September 2018, you gave a directive. You repeated the same directive on 22nd November 2018 to stop the expansion of Changwali refugee camp. And it is still ongoing up to today. An official by the names of Bafachi was on radio the other day saying that they are taking their doses to continue with their exercise, and they are saying nobody can stop us, not including not even Parliament. And that was the statement. So I must say that much as we are trying to fault the committee here and there is a lot of impunity in that office. Thank you, Madam Speaker.
Housing. Rob first, then Minister of Housing. Then
Madam Speaker, I happened to be in Bududa. Then the second time, we went to both Bududa and Bulambuli. The way we saw Bududa and Bulambuli, I do not know. I even asked a question there in Bulambuli, that I don't see any banana plantation around because the place was so dry. That is the dry side. And then we also have the wetland. So that was a big concern, which I saw the differences between Bududa and Bulambuli. So that then gives me a thinking of giving people options. It is wrong to think that compensating or buying people off from their land doesn't work. It works. Let's give people option. For us, we live in camps, and we know what camps mean. Some people do not like to live in camps. Our people never really wanted to live in camps.
Madam Law, information. It is true, the area you went, banana plantation, but I have a banana plantation within that area, 26 acres, and it's doing very well.
Well, we did not see and we were not shown. So we only saw dry area. That is one thing, my concern. Then my other concern is about the report, the statement of the minister. When he talked about police and the UPDF, in the morning here, we had issues.
Half a minute to conclude.
We had an issue of the police, even UPDF. You see, in the health, we say UPDF. In agriculture, operation wealth creation, UPDF. Then they leave their domain, and now go to other things. When it comes to making bricks, why can't we really use the youth who are there instead of now taking the police away from their work? We only have to take just a few who are probably skilled people who are professionals in the area. So that is really a big concern that we are doing a lot of disservice to our people. I take the
Thank you. Thank you, Right Honourable Speaker. I would like to appreciate Madam Lob for giving me the opportunity. The information I would like to give to honourable members. In Kiriadongo, the ministry hurried with the construction of houses for the refugees. And when the money was allocated, they did not complete the required number of the houses. The money was swindled. At the end, they constructed very few number of houses. And people who are in Bududa decided to go back to Bududa.
Therefore, government normally hurry with an activity with the techniques of getting the little money that is being allocated. Thank you.
Let me conclude.
Honorable Musi.
Thank you very much.
Just use 3 minutes, please.
Right, Honorable Speaker, and I also want to thank the committee. I just want to make a few comments that I am chairing the subcommittee that is overseeing the construction as minister responsible for housing and human settlement. And we sent a team of engineers and housing officers, and they are satisfied that the land, particularly plots 93 and 94, are suitable for human habitation. And I think on the attached committee report, there were architectural designs and structures which have been prepared by the Ministry of Lands, and it is not true that the houses will be raised. Yes, the flat area, it will have a strong base, but it is suitable for human settlement. At least the professionals have assured us. So that is to allay fears. That's to allay fear that the place is a wetland and cannot be settled by people. The other plot 10, which is waterlogged, is the one which will be used for agriculture. And there is a difference between the waterlogged area and the wetland. We have computerized land transactions in the ministry. It is now not possible for you to get a title on the wetland. And we work with the NEMA, which has produced an atlas for wetlands, so it's now not possible to get a title on wetlands. Secondly, this settlement is not going to be a camp. From the physical planning point of view, it's going to be a satellite city, which actually we recommend, yes, because, yes, we have drawn a physical plan. I don't have time.
Please close.
Right, Honorable Speaker, our ministry is in charge of physical planning and and this place has been planned for settlements and also other physical amenities like schools, playgrounds, green spaces, and therefore it will be a modern settlement area and not a camp in a sense that you are talking about the swamp. Right, Honorable Speaker, I also wanted to comment on the issue of valuation and also the comment made by Honorable Mwiru that how could the government be buying its own land. Once the government has given you a lease, like in this case, talking over 99 years, and it develops interest to acquire the land again, then the remaining period of the lease has to be evaluated and then compensated. Because you are the owner of the lease, have registrable interest on that land. And that's how the remaining period was valued and then compensated. And also to say, like what Leonanda said, the valuation is a professional area. And the way the chief government valuer assesses the value of a property, that he has a formula, which at the end of the day gives you more than what the market offers. Because the law, the Land Act, Section 33, provides for some of the statutory allowances, which the valuer has to add over and above the market value of that land. So therefore, when you are being compensated by government, you get more money than what ordinarily you would sell on the market. Finally, I just wanted to assure Honorable Mwangusho and the people of Sebei that yes, government is aware that there are people who are homeless in Sebei region. And a decision has been taken that all the people who are and also those who live in high-risk areas in the Oregon region, Masabaland, and also Sebei region will be relocated and settled in areas which are of low risk. So I just wanted to assure Honorable Mwangusho that his people in the Sebei region will also be resettled. So what we are presenting today is just the initial phase, like Honorable Shweru said. So there will be other phases of resettling people in those areas.
Now,
I thank you very much.
Members, let's have the chairperson. Now, honourable members, despite my attempts to drive you to the recommendations, majority of you avoided them. So what we are going to do is extract them, subject recommendation, so that we can take a vote on one individually. So they'll be extracted and clerk will circulate them to you in the morning, then we can vote on them tomorrow, one by one. But Honourable Chair, please respond.
Thank you, Right Honourable Speaker and colleagues, for the opportunity. I request to respond to some of the issues raised. But first of all, I am so glad that the committee from 2016 to date has only managed to bring a report on this matter by the committee that I'm chairing. So I am happy. And I want to say, Right Honourable Speaker, you read keenly how the debate started. And that was how difficult to come out with this report. Therefore, I want to commend my members who stood firm, and we don't have a minority report. Right Honourable Speaker and colleagues, we gave you a comprehensive report with a clear flow of events. We have done our work. It is you who is to make a decision at the end. But I'm also happy that members from that region have confirmed, for example, the woman MP from that area, I hope I've quoted her rightly, that when it rains, it is equivalent to a disaster. You need to put machines there. I love my country. I love my party. I love my government. I love my people. Right Honourable Speaker, time will speak. Right Honourable Speaker, it is not true that the committee has been blocking the implementation of a well-structured plan by Office of the Prime Minister. We are only telling you we want you to do it properly so that you don't enter into ditches. These are the failures that we are seeing. I will be the happiest to see that those people are relocated and settled permanently. But it will be bad of us not to tell you, colleagues, that however, as we are moving there, these are the things which are on the ground. Right Honourable Prime Minister, I respect you. And I will always support your office, even at individual basis. But I will never wish to misinform my government. Never. Therefore, Right Honourable Speaker, we have a feeling that these people should be resettled once and forever. Right Honourable Speaker, when we last went on the ground, I'm happy that the minister showed for us some pictures. Right Honourable Speaker and colleagues, by the time we were presenting this report, what was found on the ground was that road that you saw, members, but that road was also opened by an investor, but not our government. No. The small square place which has been cleared was what we found out, preparing for activities to take place. And they have given for us updates that the activities on that place, we are happy. We don't have individual interest, never, Right Honourable Speaker. We looked at issues as they were and as they are. I don't have any bad feeling towards our colleague, Honourable Mudimi. Nothing. Nothing, not any other person. But when we went through all the documents, we got his name there. And that was how it came here. Right Honorable Speaker, my colleague raised an issue that I should clarify, that they are managers of, that they are directors on Sim Oil Company. Right Honorable Speaker, I don't want to lie. We did not know Mudimi as a committee. When we wrote to Office of the Prime Minister, they told us they dealt with Sim Oil. We wrote to them, please, can you link us to the Office of Sim Oil? We got a response back, you search for it. Honorable Speaker, Honorable Mudimi came to me that I'm representing Sim Oil. We accepted him to appear before us. If that was the mistake we did, he requested, we allowed him, he interacted with the committee. Right Honorable Speaker.
Order. Madam Speaker, it is clear I've tabled documents. They invited me in the committee and they invited Director of Sim Oil. But I came to the committee saying she's not around, she's requesting for another appointment, but not to represent. You see, in order to lie the house that I came to say I'm representing Sim Oil.
But, Honourable Member, the Speaker was not there in the committee. I don't know who came first, who did not come. And you didn't address it in your report. You did not address it.
Thank you, Right Honourable Speaker. Right Honourable Speaker, he raised some issues on information about the LC5 chairperson. Of Bulambuli district. Honorable Speaker, we almost arrested the LC5 chairperson of Bulambuli district because we identified him as one of those leaders who was misleading Office of the Prime Minister. In one of the letters, he stated that there were no encumbrances, and we attached it here. When he appeared before us, he said, do you know what? I cautioned Office of the Prime Minister not to timber. Then we pulled out that letter that see what you have told the Prime Minister. Why did you lie to the Office of the Prime Minister? We have it there. Right Honorable Speaker, the financial loss, we explain it in our report, plot by plot. I don't want to go into the details. But the safer way that the government can really handle this way is the first. I'm not taking. Right Honorable Speaker, the best way is government should really build its relationship with the people, but not only looking at business. Right Honorable Speaker, why do I say this? In our last meeting, I want to thank Honorable Minister Onek, Hilary Onek. He said before the committee, my members, number 7 attached, said that, please, we tried as OPM to tell Honorable Mudimi to help us to occupy our land. But we failed. And what Honorable Mudimi said is true. When he said there was that MOU that was initiated and he did not sign, it is true. Right Honorable Speaker and colleagues, that was an attempt by Office of the Prime Minister to settle these things outside. And we made attachment. Right Honorable Speaker, on the response number 6, what the minister said is not right.
Point of order, Honorable.
Madam Speaker, thank you very much. Madam Speaker, we have all been involved in land transactions. You go, you inspect the land, you do the title. For you, a lawyer, me, I'm just a villager who buys land. You will see the land, and you confirm there is no encumbrances, then you do what? You pay. Now the office of the Prime Minister went to Bulambole. Museveni was a seller. I want to assume they went, checked, confirmed, and paid. Now, if it is true that the Prime Minister's office paid land when it knew they were squatters, then the people to be held liable is the people of the office of the what? The Prime Minister. You just listen to me. Yes, okay. How powerful is the Museveni to the office of the Prime Minister? So, Madam Speaker, is it in order to leave the office of the Prime Minister? Because I know Oboya behind there was the one involved. That is the man. That is the man. Vincent Oboya. Is it in order to leave Vincent Oboya with the thief and go for a man who was selling property?
Order, Madam Speaker. Order, Madam Speaker. Order, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, I have perused.
Order.
Madam Speaker, unless Honorable Nandara is meaning himself as a thief, because I have been here as a member of Parliament when this report was read. I was also reading like any of you. I did not come across anywhere in that report where my name is mentioned. Is Honorable Nandara in order to, unless he substantiates what he's trying to say, is he in order to call me a thief? Actually, I think he means himself. He should say what he means. Because I am sure, Right Honorable Speaker, unfortunately, there are a lot of allegations about Bugisu Cooperative Union and how it is being run, and I think he's at the helm of it. That's why he's meaning himself. Is in order.
Honourable members, I did not see Honourable Boya's name in the report, so he's out of order. But I want to really appeal to you, the Bamasaba. You are making this an arena of battle, of Bugishu battles. This is not the first time. No.
Thank you.
Order. Honourable Chair, please conclude. Order.
Thank you, Right Honourable Speaker. I am happy with what I'm seeing. Right Honourable Speaker, I want also to state it here that there was a man called Murefu who successful from the court regained his 100 acres of land. And out of the 118 acres, which was already put in the document submitted to Office of the Prime Minister, and after that, Honorable when we are members of Parliament. So I want to go now to the statement number 6 given by Honorable Minister Museveni, that on page 8 and 9, we have acknowledged that there was a successful procurement process followed. No. Honorable Speaker, our report is here. We said, for example, Office of the Prime Minister contends that it followed. We were reporting up to page actually 10. We were fair that we want the chronology to flow. After reporting what you told us, we gave you our analysis, our observations and recommendations. So I request that that be extracted, Right Honourable Speaker. Right Honourable Speaker, Right Honorable Speaker, I don't want to go to some of the specifics because the report talks it all. We are going to remain committed members of the committee. I'm not aware that some of my members wanted to withdraw their signatures, but it is test of leadership, Right Honorable Speaker. It is a test of leadership. And I will stand firm. I want to thank my Prime Minister and Office of the Government Chief Whip for having given me this opportunity to serve at this position. My work is to ensure that I don't lie you. And when a report is signed, I stand by it to explain it. So I want to thank all my members. What I'm wishing is, let us put our heads together. And Right Honorable Prime Minister, I kindly request your office that if you can make use of this report, where issues are irrelevant, leave them. But where issues are reflective, you can do your independent investigation on this report as Office of the Prime Minister and come with better solutions. We are not blocking. That's why we went ahead and said, even come with supplementary budget. I will be at the front line to support. And all this is in this report. So, honorable members, Right Honorable Speaker, we are grateful for the opportunity. We have done all this for God and my country.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you very much, honorable members. You want to speak? Okay, Minister, briefly.
Madam Speaker, I want to thank the members for the input, very rich input. First of all, I want to, like the chairperson of the committee has said, what I was waiting for and what the offices and government is waiting for is that she's not blocking, or the committee is not blocking the program. We made it very clear that we'll do whatever it takes to resettle people. There are issues that have been clearly observed by members here, that we have a roadmap for resettlement. Madam Speaker, we have. Do we have resources to do that? Madam Speaker, Cabinet has also resolved that that will be available now. That one has been a decision. We have a 10-year resettlement plan for all the 100,000 people who need to be resettled. 10-year resettlement plan. We have started with this community, which is in very high risk. We will continue to go to until we conclude with all those who are landless. That's our commitment. What we are going to do, however, Madam Speaker and honorable members, we have learned a few lessons. For example, what we did in Kabarole. We resettled people. They sold the land, Madam Speaker. They sold the plots of land to other rich people immediately, and again relocated to the forest of Kibale. When they relocated to the forest of Kibale, they were displaced. We looked at their records. Fortunately, we had done biometrics. We realized that these are the people who had already resettled, but they sold their land. We are very careful. When we conclude this resettlement, what we are going to share with the leadership, we are going to put a caveat on everybody who is going to be given this property. He will not have the opportunity to sell it for a limited time, for some minimum period of time. As far as we are concerned, this one is bought, the land is there, there is no loss, the land is there, the resettlement process has started. We have learned a few lessons from it. We have talked about settling those who are complaining in two ways. Because the truth, comrades, when you look at this report, it is very clear that it was not the transaction between the Masaba Cooperative Union and OPM which has a mistake, because we have the land titles. What is true is that there were some complainants within the group that was led by Honorable Mudimi, who don't seem to be satisfied with the way they share the proceeds. That must be addressed administratively. That must be addressed. We have drawn the attention of Bulambuli local government. As government, we are responsible for people who are complaining, and we shall be able to handle that. Because it is also in our interest that these people are resettled so that we can politically settle them. But the resettlement is going on. Thank you so much.
Okay, honourable members, as I indicated, we are going to extract the subject and the recommendations, and we shall take a vote on them. Now, honourable members, I wanted us very quickly to go to 4, and that's the Minister of Transport to answer in 3 minutes, Minister of ICT to answer in 3 minutes, Education and Health are not here. Maybe Honourable Ida, can you answer in 3 minutes the issue of Honourable Abigaba? You see here?
Right Honourable Speaker, this is a statement in response to a question. This is a statement in response to a question that was raised by Honourable Abigaba Cuthbert, Member of Parliament for Chibale County on the 16th of August 2018. Right Honourable Speaker, the issues that were raised are two. Number one, the Honourable Member of Parliament asked to know the steps the Ministry of Information, Communication Technology and National Guidance was taking to stop the practice of telecommunications companies from outsourcing engineering services to companies abroad, despite the fact that Uganda has many qualified telecommunications engineers who could do the same work. Issue number two that was raised, it was about the concern of an influx of foreign personnel who are contracted to manage the networks in Uganda, and as a result reducing the Ugandan telecommunication professionals to basic engineering works or not being employed at all. In response, Right Honourable Speaker and Honourable Members, I did task Uganda Communications Commission to investigate the allegations raised by the Honourable Member. We engaged telecom companies that are allegedly in this practice, and the Commission was therefore able to establish the following. Number one is that contrary to the assertion that telecommunications companies have outsourced all their engineering services, some of them, like MTN Uganda Limited and Airtel, have outsourced only support services and field operations services. Even where outsourcing has been done, these operations are carried out in Uganda by Ugandans, and as such, there is no transfer of infrastructure or data out of Uganda. The core communications networks are run by the telecommunications companies and by Uganda engineers employed by these companies. Number two, Right Honourable and members, as is provided for under the licenses of all telecommunications service providers issued by the Commission, all telecom licenses cannot be assigned or transferred to any person or company without the express permission of the Commission. Even if services are outsourced under the licensed activities, the telecommunications company holding the license is responsible for running the communication services and networks in accordance with the license. Even with the outsourcing business model, which is used by telecommunications companies the world over, any personnels who are working with the affected departments in the telecommunications sector are transferred to the outsourced partner on a continuous employment basis. The transfers are done with the unfettered consent of the affected employees. With the outsourced model, no single person loses his or her employment as a result of outsourcing unless the affected person chooses otherwise. Number 3, Right Honorable, this outsourcing model, contrary to the allegations made, has provided employment for Ugandan engineers, since these outsourced companies need to recruit more engineers to run their operations and create other opportunities elsewhere that would not have been available in the outsourcing telecommunications company. Number 4, contrary to the belief that outsourced companies are not resident in Uganda and run in foreign jurisdictions, many of the outsourced companies are local companies, while others are foreign companies domiciled and incorporated in Uganda and employing Ugandan engineers. Outsourced companies have fully utilized Ugandan employees in sectors of work like recruitment and employment relations, fiber maintenance, network rollout and maintenance, marketing and advertising, sales and distribution, data collection and processing, and the support services there too, since such roles cannot be outsourced to foreigners. The challenge, is Right Honorable, is that Zhongxing Telecommunications Equipment, which is ZTE, employees experienced was not within the control of MTN Uganda, since ZTE International was affected by the United States of America government directive in denying U.S. export privileges to ZTE, hence paralyzing their global business, which also affected Uganda. Following this directive, since May 2018, MTN has taken over the management of its network operations from ZTE Uganda Limited and has absorbed all the staff that were hitherto working under ZTE Uganda. MTN Uganda, however, did not take over the business of ZTE, since ZTE is an independent limited liability company incorporated in Uganda. Therefore, it is legally untenable for MTN to take over all the liabilities of ZTE occasioned by the U.S. directive. Contrary to the assertion that telecommunications operators have experienced a large influx of foreign personnel who are contracted to manage the networks at the expense of Ugandan professionals, Madam Speaker, I wish to state that a head count of employees in the leading telecom service providers as at June 2018 indicates that Uganda Telecom Limited has 368 employees and only 2 are expatriates. Airtel Uganda Limited has 394 employees, of whom only 8 are expatriates, while MTN Uganda has 1,102 employees, and of whom only 9 are expatriates. Tangerine has 40 employees and 7 expatriates. Rock Telecom has 8 employees and has no expatriates at all, because it's purely Ugandan. Africell Uganda Limited has 510 employees, of whom 25 are expatriates. Note also, Right Honourable Speaker, that under the private-public partnership arrangement, parties in partnership are allowed to have representation at both the board and management levels to protect their interests. Investigations further revealed that Net Telecom Company hosts its data outside of Uganda, and the respective data centers can be visited within Uganda for verification. Furthermore, Madam Speaker, Parliament has recently passed the Data Protection and Privacy Bill that will provide the hitherto lacking legal framework to safeguard the integrity and safety of private data that is in the control of telecom service providers. In conclusion, Madam Speaker, while we respond to this matter because the mentioned companies fall under the ICT sector, allow me to also mention that outsourcing is not only happening in the telecom sector, but rather a general practice that large companies are adopting worldwide. It should also be noted that while licensing conditions can help to avert any disadvantages on Ugandans arising from outsourcing, Uganda's labor laws are also silent on this matter. To the contrary, the foreigners talked about are granted work permits by Ministry of Internal Affairs. This therefore calls for a multi-sectoral approach to deal with this matter, with Ministry of Gender, Labour and Social Development taking the lead. I thank you, Right Honourable and members.
Okay, thank you very much. Cuthbert is not here, so there will be no supplementary. Did he assign you? Did he assign you? Okay, one supplementary. And must relate to what is here. No new matters.
Thank you very much, Right Honourable Speaker. I stand here to thank the Minister for her responses. But, Right Honourable Speaker, the question of outsourcing goes to the root of the question raised by Honourable Cuthbert, to the extent that Ugandans are disadvantaged. I would have imagined the Minister to go ahead and inform Parliament what they are doing, particularly for those areas that you can ably get Ugandans to fill those posts without necessarily outsourcing. Number two. One. Okay, I leave it at that. But Right Honourable Speaker, I don't think that the Minister is right to say the lead ministry should be Minister of Gender, Labour and Social Development. It is within her docket, and therefore it would be good for this House to say that as a Minister of ICT, these are the measures they've put in place, 1, 2, 3, without now pushing the responsibilities to some other ministry, because this is why, after all, it is within her docket. To say that, let her continue checking and trying to ensure that the concerns raised by this House are mitigated and a solution found, Right Honourable Speaker.
Okay, Honourable Minister, I don't know, how does the Minister of Gender come in? I think we are a bit curious about that.
Right Honourable, in my presentation, I alluded to the fact that Ministry of Gender has to come up with laws that regulates all other companies, not only telecom companies, in looking at the issue of recruitment. When we are recruiting, we also recruit non-Ugandans who are foreigners in this matter, as alluded to by the Honourable Member. So we are saying that the labour laws are silent on whether we should recruit foreigners or expatriates, or we should only recruit Ugandans. So since we are silent there, Right Honourable, we are saying Ministry of Gender must address this matter to make sure that expatriates are either stopped from being recruited or
matter that should be debated.
Just giving
I think it's a policy matter. It's a very big policy matter, which I think maybe you need to discuss in the cabinet before the laws are made. It's big because it's touching so many others. I hope you people will take it up. Okay. Thank you. Minister of Works, 4A, if you could do it in 3 minutes.
18. Honorable Kafuzi Jackson Karugaba, the MP for Chaka South, sought intervention of government to restore the bridge connecting Chiruhura and Chiegegwa districts, which was washed away by heavy floods. Madam Speaker, allow me to respond as follows. The background, I have established that there are actually 2 roads that connect the 2 districts, that is Chiruhura and Chiegegwa, whose connectivity has been severed in the recent past. One of the roads is the Chiegegwa Mpala Katonga Chiruhura Kazo Road. And I believe this is the one the Honorable Member of Parliament was referring to. This road that lies on the National Roads Network flooded at a low point through a swamp crossing that is located between Kabagori in Chiegegwa district and Nkunge Trading Center in Chiruhura district. The road links to this swamp crossing lie on the Community Access Roads Network and were reconstructed under the CAIP project. CAIP is Community Access Infrastructure Improvement Project and is implemented by the Ministry of Local Government. At this point, that is now constituting a bottleneck. There are culvert lines that were blocked and damaged, causing the water to flood appreciably, rendering the swamp impassable. There is no bridge, no span bridge at the location. Given the above scenario, my ministry in the short term is going to issue AMCO pipe culverts to Chegegwa district to install at the flooded point. However, subsequently, the ministry will undertake detailed assessments and plan for commensurate interventions that may include swamp crossing using one of the fossa count units. The AMCO pipe culverts will be issued within 2 weeks' time, actually before 2 weeks are over, after which the districts shall be expected to install the culverts. Further assessments will be made by the ministry engineers later in this month to scope any additional works that may be required. And if the additional works are significant, interventions may have to be planned for in the coming financial year of 2019/20, as the funds in the current year of 18-19 are already committed and the ministry's budget is actually constrained. In conclusion, Madam Speaker, I wish to once again remind honorable members of Parliament that the need for bridging interventions countrywide is immense. However, the ministry is doing its best to address the bottlenecks, much as the resources are not adequate. And looking forward, we are putting together sizable projects to construct substantial numbers of bridges which are going to be formulated, and I will count on your support when these are brought to the floor of Parliament. As for the crossing in question, the ministry is going to fast track the interventions as spelled out above. I submit.
Any supplementary? Honorable Kafuzi? No. Supplementary for the person who asked. If he wants. She has answered the question. The man who asked is here. He's the one entitled to raise a supplementary question, if he has. Regarding the answer?
Yeah, Madam Speaker, thank you very much. Madam Speaker, you are our mentor, and we have greatly learned a lot through you. The procedural guidance I'm seeking, Madam Speaker, is with relation to Rule 50 of our Rules of Procedure regarding to these questions. Because of what Sub-Rule 1 provides that whereas the one who asked has a right to ask first, but I want to know, Madam Speaker, through your guidance, how other members can utilize Sub-Rule 1 to raise supplementary questions that may arise out of the answers that the minister may have provided. I just need your guidance, Madam Speaker.
You know, honour members, if we had maybe 30 members, this rule would be really good. But when you have 100 members wanting to speak on the same issue, it really is problematic. So let's concentrate on the practice as we are doing it. If you have a question, you'll ask and you will have the supplementary. Yes.
Madam Speaker, I stand up to appreciate. This road is very crucial. It is a central government road. When I raised that matter, it was a market day, and the bridge is just next to the market, so it had cut off both districts. I do appreciate the fact that it was worked on immediately. UNRWA was there even through the night. So thank you very much. Thank you. In law, we would say I have nothing useful to add, but here I would say we only demand for tarmac. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Now, honourable members, we've done quite a bit of work. We are to have lengthy debates on the other issues because we are really contentious and we needed to get people to speak and so that they can go home happy. Otherwise, we want to adjourn the House so that we continue tomorrow. We shall start with now tomorrow there will be no matters of national interest until Thursday so that we can run through this work which is on the order paper. So we shall start with the usual things, and then there's a motion and the bills. We have 3 bills. Minister of Health excused herself. She's coming tomorrow. Yes. House adjourned, 2 p.m. tomorrow.
There's no need